This video is about simplifying ratios and solving proportions and understanding and applying dilations. So a ratio, remember, compares two or more quantities and it's always written in the lowest terms, which means as a reduced ratio. Ratios can be written in three ways. So they can be written as a fraction. We could say A over B. We could say A to B or A colon B. The most common way that you're going to see it is written as a fraction. Number one, write the ratio that represents each situation. In a first grade class, there are 6 kids coloring with red crayons, 3 kids coloring with blue crayons, 9 kids coloring with green crayons, and 6 kids coloring with purple crayons. So in part A, we want to compare the red to the green crayons. So we have 6 kids with red crayons, and we have 9 kids with green crayons. So when we compare this, we're going to have 6 over 9, and then we reduce, and we get 2/3. B, we want to compare the blue crayons to the total. So we know that there are 3 kids coloring with blue, and to figure out the total, we're going to add up all of the kids together. So 6 plus 3 plus 9 plus 6, which gets us 24 kids. So we're going to have 3 over 24, and that reduces to 1/8 because I can divide both of them by 3. C, we have purple to red. So we have 6 kids with purple and 6 kids with red. So we have 6 over 6, which equals 1 over 1. Remember that you need to write it as 1 over 1 because it's a ratio comparing things. If you just write 1, it's not being compared to anything else. Number 2, simplify each ratio. Now, when you are simplifying ratios, they have to have the same units. So inches, people, months, hours, days. So we're going to simplify and make sure they have the same ratio before we simplify. So in A, we have 15 inches over 18 inches. Both of these are inches, so we can reduce right away by taking 3 out of both and dividing, and we get 5/6. For B, we have 6 feet and 30 inches. Right now, those are not the same unit, so we need to convert to the same unit. So we are going to do that by taking the 6 feet and turning it into inches. So we're going to multiply by 12 inches. 6 times 12 gets us 72 inches, and then we still already had the 30 inches. Now that they have the same unit, we can reduce. So we can take a 6 out of both, and when I divide, I get 12 over 5. In C, we have 4 feet over 2 yards. So feet is our smaller unit, so we're going to convert to feet. So we're going to take 2 yards, and we're going to multiply by 3 feet, because that's how many feet are in a yard. And we get 4 feet over 6 feet. And when I reduce 4 over 6, I get 2/3. D, given that there are 14 girls and 30 people in the class, find the ratio of boys in the class. So if there's 30 people total, we can subtract the girls, and we know that there's 16 boys. So our ratio would be 16 over 30. And we can divide both of those by 2 and get 8 over 15 as our reduced ratio. E, there's 12 blue marbles out of total 39 total marbles. So we want to find the ratio of blue marbles. So we're going to take the blue marbles and divide by our total marbles and reduce, and we get 4 over 13 because we can divide both numbers by 3. So when we put ratios equal to each other, we get a proportion. So when we are trying to solve a proportion, we're going to use cross multiplication. So when we do cross multiplication, the number from the top of one fraction multiplies with the variable or number on the bottom of the other fraction. So in this case, we would have A times D is equal to B times C. So in number 3, when I go to cross multiply, I have 4 times x equals 9 times 10. So we get 4x equals 90. We can divide by 4, and we get that x is 22.5. Now, in number 4, we have x plus 4 and x plus 10. So we want to put parentheses around those so that when we are multiplying, both terms get multiplied by the number. So first we're going to multiply 5 times x plus 10 equals 8 times x plus 4. So I'm going to distribute, and I get 5x plus 50 equals 8x plus 32. So in order to solve for x, I'm going to subtract 5x on both sides. So I have 50 equals 3x plus 32. I can subtract 32 on both sides. I get 18 equals 3x. And when I divide, I get x is 6. In number 5, when I cross multiply, I have two quantities that are going to multiply with the x plus 1 and the x plus 8. So I have x plus 1 times x plus 8, and then I have 5 times x plus 4. So when I multiply x times x is x squared, x times 8 is 8x, 1 times x is 1x, 1 times 8 is 8, equals 5x plus 20. So I can combine like terms and I get x squared plus 9x plus 8 is equal to 5x plus 20. So because there's an x squared, we're going to have to factor. So we want to move everything to the x squared side. So when we subtract 5x and 20, we get x squared plus 4x minus 12 is equal to 0. So we need two numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to 4. So we get x plus 6 and x minus 2 equals 0. I'm going to switch my signs. So we get x is negative 6 and x is 2. In this case, because we don't have them representing sides or anything, we're going to keep our negative solution. So now working backwards for 6 and 7, they're giving us the cross product, and we need to find the ratio of x to y in the simplest form. So when we have x over y, we want to figure out what would I cross multiply with to get here. So when I have x on top, I would need to know what is x going to multiply with to get 18x, which is 18, and y is 24. So the coefficients of the variables are going to switch from the top or the bottom of the fraction based on where the x and y are. And then I can reduce this by dividing both of them by 6, so we get 4/3. In number 9, now it's switching the order, so we have y over x. We know that y multiplies with 12, so 12 is going to go in the denominator. X multiplies with 16. And then we can reduce this, and it again reduces to 4/3. So let's look at some dilations with enlargement and reduction, because we use ratios or scale factor in order to make an enlargement or a reduction happen. So an enlargement means that we're going to take a shape and we're going to multiply by something to get a bigger shape or figure. So when we're trying to find the scale factor, it's always going to be your new over your old image. So the new image is 10, the old image is 4. When we reduce, we get 5/2. Remember that anytime you're using enlargement, your scale factor is always going to be greater than 1. For a reduction, we move from a bigger figure to a smaller figure. So to find our scale factor again, it's still the same ratio. It's still the new over the old. So we have 9 over 15, and that reduces to 3/5. So whenever you're doing a reduction, your scale factor is always going to be less than 1. Number 8, ABC is dilated to DEF. So we have the side from ABC going to DEF. This is going to be a reduction because DEF is a smaller triangle. So when we do our scale factor, it's the new shape over the old shape, and that reduces to 7/10. Number 9, DEF is dilated to ABC. So this time we're going from DEF to ABC. So this is going to be an enlargement because we got into a bigger triangle. So when I do my scale factor, I have 10 over 18, which reduces to 5/9. Lastly, we can take coordinates and we can dilate by a scale factor. So we're going to take the coordinate of each of these and multiply by 3/2. So if our y coordinate is currently -2, 0, we're going to multiply both coordinates by 3/2. So -2 times 3/2 gets us -3. and then 0. So we're going to go to negative 3, 0, and this is our new y coordinates. We're going to call it y prime. Our a coordinate is 2, 4, and we're going to multiply by 3 over 2. So 2 times 3 over 2 is going to be 2, which is 6, divided by 2 is 3, and 3 over 2 times 4 gets us 6. So we're going to go to 3, 6, and this is our a prime. And then our b coordinate was 6, negative 2, and we're going to multiply by 3 over 2. So when we do 6 times 3 over 2, we get 18 over 2, which is really 9. Negative 2 times 3 over 2 is negative 3. So we're going to go to 9, negative 3. This is b prime. Notice that our scale factor was greater than 1, so our new figure is larger than the original. In 13, we're going to multiply by a scale factor of 1/2. So we're going to take each coordinate and multiply by 1/2. So if k is negative 6, 4, we're going to multiply by 1/2, and we get negative 3, 2. So k is at negative 3, 2, k prime. T was at negative 2, 8, and when we multiply by 1/2, we get negative 1, 4. So we're going to go negative 1, 4. This is t prime. S is at 2, 2. So we multiply by 1/2. Our new coordinate is 1, 1. Notice that our new shape now is smaller than the original because our scale factor is less than 1.